better there can be a better option here. And okay, there's already Valir as your support right here, so I think there is a better pick for Bren. So to me, I think Sunsparks will be having this.
Well, Bren was the first team that actually made Popol and Koopa work, and it is going to be not actually going to be in the hands of Coco, but instead it's going to be on the hands of Few. And Few was able to just split push on the Popol and Koopa, and that's how Bren Esports were able to get a victory off of that. The real question here is that if Carl TZ would be able to pop off on that Wan. That's the number one question in my mind here for Bren.
Yeah, and considering that Bren Esports kind of needs a certain amount of economy for this Wan to really pop off, and I'm pretty sure if it's in the hands of Carl TZ, it can just pull through. But the question is the effectiveness of a Wan comes to the mid and late phases of the game. So with that, I think this is where Sunsparks can really utilize their early game advantage here with the Selene on the arrows, provided that the arrows are really on point.
Provided that Greed doesn't give out too much HP there, but there is a big rotation over the top side just to shut down Few on that Popol and Koopa, and that might just be a turret conversion as well. And Sunsparks will be forced to fall back as Lusty tries to salvage this top lane. He's down to half HP. I don't think he's going to be overseeing his welcome here, but the rest of Bren Esports are back in action. Carl TZ finally level 4 will have the ultimate available, but not going to be committing it just yet.
I don't know about man, but okay, it's given into the situation that Sunsparks had 4 people, if I'm not mistaken, onto the top side, shutting down the Popol and Koopa. But that would have been a good opportunity for Bren Esports to, really decrease the health of the turret onto the mid lane instead of actually going in there for a potential pickoff, because it's kind of evident that they won't make it in time, and Sunsparks would have gone to safety by then. But I think that's also a good discipline for the side of Bren Esports, just really wanting to be responsive onto the top side. But speaking of responsive, it looks like we are just having really pokes and dashes right here onto the middle, and again, still going back to the scaling.
Sunsparks are just trying to get the lane priority here in order for them to secure the first turtle of the game, which is going to be adamant that JP gets the first turtle buff and not Wan, or Popol and Koopa for that matter, will be able to melt down the turrets at this point in the game. And that is going to be contested by Coco, trying to push back the minion waves in the bottom lane towards the side of Sunsparks in order for them to not start it off. Speaking of starting it off, Lasty trying to start off the turtle there, but he's already down to quarter HP. Going to be forced to back off, and Sunsparks are going to be forced to retaliate here as KLVJ takes down Few. There goes the Mplph, not connected to anybody. Call TZ pops ultimate, not catching a lot of people there. Going to be forced to disengage.
This is a very good harassing to the side of Sunsparks, right? You're really protecting the turtle side, not wanting to give the objectives to the side of Bren Esports, and that exchange would really be in the hands of Sunsparks. But going back right here, last insanity will be used to really pressure up Carl TZ with the blue buff. Let's see, Carl TZ will be getting that free hit right here and gets the kill for himself. But in exchange, the guy will be securing the turtle for the side of Sunsparks. Polito will be using his Guardian's bulwark right here to protect. And again, this is a good transition to disengage because they know that they lack the manpower, so it's best to really keep it safe since it was a good trade-off for them.
Lassie wasn't able to connect with the not the last insanity, but with the fatal links there, and that was a bit unfortunate. It could have caught JP and KLVJ there, but
yeah.
Sunsparks is going to be converting the turtle take into a turret take here, while Bren Esports tries to retaliate as they force Greed back. Rafflesia is going to get caught. Mplph not available to catch them off. Bottom lane turret for Sunsparks is still alive, while KLVJ and Coco, bit of a scuffle on the top side.
That was a good usage of Koopa here from the side of Few to really, disconnect that initial engagement coming from that bottom side to avoid any casualties. But going back, I think this is still an objective game for the side of Sunsparks. Really patient. They're not similar to game number one. They are not the ones who are engaging the team fights. Rather, they're just really reacting or counter-initiating what Bren has to offer. And speaking of this, this is really looking good, really, for Sunsparks, because other than the fact that they're waiting for the mid game, they're actually giving JP a lot of space to really go for economies and go for these resource takes.
Yeah, and speaking of resource takes, the turret is going to go down. That's another resource going into the size of Sunsparks. And JP really just trying to farm up and stay as safe as possible here in this game, because once JP loses his touch in this game and just keeps dying, that's when Sunsparks is going to start falling down. A commanding lead by Sunsparks so far, 5 minutes of the game. 3-1 is the scoreline, and JP is in the lead in terms of gold. In terms of gold. Finally securing that endless battle, kind of an early endless battle to add to the fact.
Because the funneling from the carry here is really, optimized. And Calamity Reaper as well for the Esmeralda to add that more damage to the side of Sunsparks right here. But I think this is already evident that we are seeing that Bren is in a bit of a pinch right here in terms of map control and economy. Because if ever so that Sunsparks is still gonna go all through and pushes the second tier turrets, this is going to limit the resources that Bren can take, and I guess this is also a call that it might be possible for them to contest any more main objectives ahead, like the Turtle or the Lord.
Well, a team fight from Bren Esports, the team fight aspect of Bren Esports here is actually really big, actually a lot better than how Sunsparks is going to be approaching this team fight. They've got a lot of catches, a lot of sustains as well, and Rebo will be the utility, what do you call this? A utility disengager, just knocking everybody back on the side of Sunsparks if ever they start jumping in. Speaking of jumping in, that's going to be JP jumping out of the fight. Mplph connecting, not onto many people. That's the trade for Bren Esports. They might just be able to trade this into a mid lane turret, as the Turtle Pit is going to be the hot spot here for Kilowatt into the last Insanity. Forces everybody to stay away from him, but I don't think he's going to survive this. But Refletia's there to back him off. Selena as well as KLVJ jumping into the backline. KLVJ with a falling star move onto Carl-Tz. Carl-Tz manages to survive that. Kilowatt still on the aggressive. Refletia's going to go down.
The dispersion of the sides of Bren Esports is making things shackles here, as one here will be going for Esmeralda here. The outplay is real for the side of Carl-Tz, allowing himself to not get caught by the members of Sunsparks, and this is going to be the knockout, followed by the public Koopa cleanup right here for the side of Sunsparks, and this is a good disengagement. I'm pretty sure this is a good trade-off for the side of Bren Esports.
I just gotta say, the micro of Carl-Tz there in the bottom lane was so perfect. He waited for the last possible minute for him to pop the ultimate as soon as his teammates were in range. He was waiting for it to go off cooldown as well. He's just kiting KLVJ as much as he can, and that just goes to show how genius Carl-Tz is in this game.
Indeed, and that was a good take for Bren Esports to really compensate for what they have lost into the early minutes of the game. But you have to take note as well that if ever so that JP can still scale through, but this is the replay of how things went through. So the Lolita was already shut down, and they are going to be transitioning here onto the bottom side. But look how Carl-Tz really waited for the Esmeralda to really pop off the ult before coming in for that kill, and followed up by this knockup from the Populin Koopa, and it goes for the cleanup. And that was just really swell, really enough to escalate their goal here for the side of Bren.
Yeah, Goldswing is slowly turning towards Bren Esports as they try to equalize the goal deficit. Coco, though, is going to get caught. Last Insanity going to be popped. Mplph not going to be catching anybody at all. That is a wasted ult, and Sunsparks are going to be trying to look for the silver lining in that fight, and they do get Lassie. They don't get the bottom lane tier 2 turret, but that is still something to look forward to, as few almost dies there on the hands of KLVJ, and the rest of Sunsparks are after Few, and I don't think he's gonna be able to survive that.
That was a good flicker in for Greed, right? They're really greedy, but you know it has to be done so that they could really shut down the potential scaling that Few is up to for the remaining minutes of our game. But still, this is looking pretty well still for the side of Sunsparks, really dominating on the map control that they have, and they still managed to get that cleanup from Zelina right there, really pinning down the Valier, and here we go. 2 members are out for the side of Bren Esports, and for Sunsparks, they don't have a casualty for yet. And this is a good opportunity for Sunsparks if they are not being able to get free hit by the Wan.
And man, speaking of the Wan, well, Carl TC on the Wan is doing okay. He is actually ahead of Carry in terms of gold, but at the end of the day, the rest of the team needs to step up here for Bren Esports. I mean, some of the checklists that we talked about earlier on at the start of the game was that Few was the split pusher. It's going to be a utility Popoling Koopa. We have not seen any good solo split pushes here from Few.
And of course, another thing that we have to take note is that Bren Esports cannot really rely solely on Carl TZ alone. They really have to give, if ever so that they will rely on him, they have to give him a good initiation onto the team fight. And how can that be? 1, from Lasty's Fatal Links, and number 2, from the containment of Rebo for both Rebo and Coco, and finally the stuns that comes from Few. But how could they do that though? They just really have to bring down the superior members of Sunsparks. But here we are seeing that Sunsparks, especially for the Selena here, just really on point with the arrows.
JP is just melting every single one. Yeah, he's a dad. He's gonna be winning this championship for his kid, and that would be the best weekend of his life if ever that's going to happen. And with the way that Sunsparks has been playing this, that might just be the case, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I just gotta agree with you with what she said earlier on. Greed was connecting with the abyssal arrows left and right, better than Shinbu.
Oh, I hear a roast. but again, you know, let's focus here on to Bren and Sunsparks for now. And yes, the arrows are connecting for Greed right here, and that is a good play to actually start some team fights. And I just saw earlier that JP has already done deal with the golden staff that he has, so this I think can really be good in terms of his free hitting abilities. But again, for Bren Esports, the option that they need right here is that Miracle Punch, where they could pin down one of the 4 damagers. Is Pika pinning down. Look at that fatal link here to really compile the members of Sunsparks. That Saturn will be used to harass the members of Bren, going back, but still it was enough to really disengage for the Lord, and still giving them a bit of leeway to just really go and defend. But up to what extent? Let's see. Sunsparks right here just applying tons of pressure, dispersing themselves all throughout the lanes, forcing Bren to really just go inside their turf. And while they do all that fiasco, looking here into our map, Sunsparks just getting all the resources they can take.
That mid lane take by Sunsparks could have went their way. Rafflesia's Numenon Blast didn't actually hit anybody, and I haven't actually noticed any good Numenon Blast from Rafflesia. It's crucial that Rafflesia hits with the Numenon Blast in order for them to get a good foothold in a pending team fight, because as soon as the Numenon Blast hits, that's when KLVJ is going to dive in. That's when JP and Kilowash would just dive in as well and just dish out a lot of damage, and it's all going to be relying on Rafflesia. You're not going to be relying on Greed on his Abyssal Arrow, because that's just going to be catching one person.
Yeah, it's a single target. And I think Rafflesia right here really needs to work on number 1, the angle, and number 2, the timing. He really has to know when can Bren be compiled together to get that Luminon Blast poppin'. But speaking of engagements, let's see how are the winning conditions for the side of Bren right here, though, man. It's getting a bit, dwindling, if you ask me.
You need 2 good team fights and then convert it to a push. That's the reset here for Bren Esports, and I'm not seeing any possibility of that happening just now. Lasty and Few There goes the Fatal Link. Lassie finally connecting with a good Fatal Link. Numinum Blast is going to get canceled, and they are getting retaliated on by Sunsparks. The mortality is going to be popped on Lassie. Lassie's going to fall down. Coco, next one in line. KLVJ is going to be pushing forward, but instead, Sunsparks is going to be focusing their attention on the mid lane turret, convert the minion pushes into the super minions. Kind of overstaying their welcome here, Sunsparks, and now they're going to be paying the price. JP down to quarter HP. Yes, he has the immortality, but that's still going to be a resource that's going to be coming out. That's going to be immortality's getting popped left and right. Reflecia not in a good spot. KLVJ going to fall down once again. Carlteasy on fire with that ultimate, and now Bren Esports are looking good here, and this is going to be one of the reset conditions that they need to come back into this game.
Yep, and that was really greedy and overcommitted for the side of Sunsparks right here. I mean, they should have went back when they had the chance, because number one, they didn't have minions upon their sleeve to go for that direct push. And number two, it was already sufficed that they had the good pickoff onto the bottom side. It kind of leaves the question as to why they needed to stay any longer onto the mid, which means they just gave Carlteasy an opportunity to really rise up in terms of economy.
Man, the economy here. Speaking of economy, Sunsparks is just really locked on in terms of the economy. 12,000 gold there onto carry, and look at Esmeralda, 10,000. And on the side of Bren Esports, you're only seeing Carlteasy on top with 11k and nobody else. Everybody else is lacking in terms of the funneling department. I mean, yeah, funneling is focusing everything onto your core damage dealer. But Sunsparks has a backup here onto KLVJ.
So it means that Sunsparks here does not really rely on the carry alone, but also Esmeralda. But here, again, Numinum Blast will be catching two this time, but they're quite dispersed. But Esmeralda will be having a pick-up for himself. Let's see if they manage to get the 1-1 here. Okay, 1-1 will be having an exchange on his own. Wasn't able to get shut down and still survives. KLVJ, though, is going to be cornered right here. But still, the Selena has able to really shut down Carlteasy. And that was a 4-man down for the side of Sunsparks right here. And this is looking pretty good because they are already transitioning themselves to one of the main objectives of this game, going into Lord, and Coco has no choice really but to really defend with all his might.
Yeah, I mean, the death timers are just enough for Bren Esports to minimize the losses that they're going to get here from the impending push. Sunsparks are going to be focusing their attention on the bottom lane and on the top lane, so really, Coco shouldn't die here, and the rest of the members of Bren Esports should not die at all in the next couple of minutes. It's looking very dangerous for Bren Esports.
Yes, definitely, because there are a lot of sources of damage for the side.
And the Lord is going to make its way over to the mid lane. Going to be imperative that Bren Esports would defend this incoming push. Sunsparks, so they are going to be walking with the Lord. Lassie in the back line does have Fatal Links, will not be using it just yet. Going to be reinforcing the teammates here. Koopa's going to go down. There goes the last Insanity by Kilowatt. Going to be forcing everybody to disperse a bit while Sunsparks works on the bottom lane turret here. Greed and the rest need to reposition themselves. Over at the mid lane though, HP's dropping dangerously low for Kilowatt. It's not looking good at all for Bren Esports, but Sunsparks, they are going to reset. They're going to disengage. Not a lot of damage being dealt here on the base of Bren Esports. They are going to be taking the bottom lane turret down to at least 2 more hits. Numinum Blast going to be used to deter Lassie from going in any more. Top lane is going to be worked on by JP and Reflecia. Top lane is open, bottom lane is open. It's now down to the wire here for Bren Esports. Fatal Links available, goes for the Fatal Links onto KLVJ. I don't think that is the wisest choice here. There goes the last Insanity in the back lines. Greets takes down Lassie. Carlteasy goes down as well. The primary damage dealer of Bren Esports is not available here, and Sunsparks will be moving on to the grand finals. Bren Esports actually defend this. KLVJ takes down Coco, and this is going to be it. Sunsparks moving to the grand